Welcome to this second sharing. And today, this sharing is my reflections on exploration, seeking, and finding home. Much of humanity is holding a deep, deep wound of exile. So much of humanity's desire is seeking. And alongside this is a desire to explore, to discover the unknown. We desire to touch that distant horizon, and yet that horizon is always just outside our grasp. There is a difference for me between the seeking of peace, harmony, fulfillment, even enlightenment, to being at home, being in joy, enjoying being in the smallest and the most intimate of ways, where I am, where we are, in the mundane. And what is mundane? What is, for instance, boredom? It is a dialing down, a numbing, and a switching off to the beauty of each of us and life. It is a switching off, a dialing down, a numbing, a frozen heartedness. And I don't say that in a judgmental way, I mean it in an energetic way. And so for many of us, this very seeking creates a further reinforcement of the idea of separation from the divine. I call that love or beauty, you can call it abundance. And so the harder we grasp, the more attached we become. I have watched over the years, I don't know, it's more than 30, all the different spiritual groups that I have explored in my seeking. I've watched myself and others move through various spiritual highs. I've watched myself and others list so many experiences we're having, so many certificates, awards, and yet I have found there's so much lacking in all of this. When we experience those that we love dearly in our lives dying, being separated from in a final way in the physical reality, we are faced with facing a lot of what really matters to us. And this is one phrase that I'm really curious about, is what matters, the word matter. We can cling to objects, cling to ideas. And then when a being passes over the rainbow bridge, passes over into another dimension, to heaven, whatever we resonate with or believe, but they are no longer here physically with us. It is a huge shock to our whole system, our reality. We can be flung into so much, the phrase existential angst, but not just that. We question the meaning of life. We wonder at what is the purpose of life? Why have certain souls got a certain journey? And what is our purpose? What is our relationship? And there is a grief with not being able to express that love in this reality, in the physical, with that being. And so we are flung into realizing that we are not in control. And so there's a nuance here for me. In this new spirituality, new earth, new age area, there's a lot of talk about manifesting, being creator beings, being sovereign, positive thinking. You create your path. How you resonate is reflected back. And yet, to me, there is a singularity, a linear perspective to that, because it's not just individual souls having their individual paths. We overlap, we interrelate, we're playing and weaving together. We see that with synchronicities that are multi-layered and can be showing us many different messages. It's not just one thing. And so another human being or animal being, another's path is their sole choice. And they may feel that it isn't their sole choice to die. And yet it is. And you could say that we can feel that it's not our sole choice to have that experience of them going through whatever they did and then passing on. This experience, which there are so many people and beings that are passing on and dying from the physical earth at this time, this experience, this huge grief, doesn't allow us to spiritually bypass, to rise above our experience with ideas and pretty words. It pulls us into a rawness, a human now, and our head can't find a place to anchor and dial down, numb, or even at times even soothe the amount of grief that we may be experiencing. This truly is a dark night of the soul when we realize that the ego cannot force or choose, and there is only one way, and that is to surrender. And surrender, we have no choice. We can fight it, and we can become angry. We can go into denial. And yes, those are all stages of grief. But to hold ourselves lovingly, to be the divine, compassionate observer, that is profound. One of the truths, think it is a truth that I have arrived at through my process, through experiencing multiple bereavements all last year, was that I am aware that my soul chose this journey, and I am aware that it is not personal what is occurring and what did occur, that I am being asked to honour their soul journeys. It's not about me, and yet my love is intimate and is the part of my expression and my exploration, my relationship with the divine and with the others who are also divine. Grief, loss throws us into facing that which we do not want to face. And the veils are stripped down. We become naked and bare, down to the bare bones. What really matters to us? There is something profound about the life we are experiencing here in the physical. I sincerely believe, and it feels a knowing, that there is a divine intelligence for us to not know everything, because if we did know everything, we wouldn't be able to sustain our presence, our consciousness in the physical. And so we are given and gifted the experience of innocence and newness, because there is a finality, beginning and an ending. There is a purpose. There is a focus. We are shaped. We are held because of this physical container. And so, to wrap this up, why I am sharing my personal experience is because my experience also is that we are the microcosm within the macrocosm. The collective is going through a dark night of the soul. And as individuals, we will be navigating that and experiencing that very individually, uniquely. And there will be within that a collective navigating. And that is what I feel is the invitation. The more of us who can surrender to this process, understand the heart intelligence, the divine intelligence, there's a reclaiming to the wisdom, and it is the path of the mystic, which is within all of us, that mystery. Many ancient beings knew of this initiations were part of that, where people would willingly be held and guided through their community to go through these thresholds, to they would reenact dying, like be buried in the earth, for instance, or be shut into a dark cave, go out into the wilderness on their own, and Jesus did that as well. And so as we discover our way through this, we heal the frozen heartedness, we connect with probably many, many layers of grief, individually, ancestrally, family, community, collective. Some of it is held in the land. And we don't need to remember all of it. That would be too much for our ego mind to do. We don't need to do that. We just be in the present, because we are a continuum, whether you believe it. We have just this one life, or there's past lives or parallel lives. There is a continuum. That is our soul and our soul journey. And so those resonances will keep coming up time and time again, whether it's just in one lifetime or other lifetimes. And so it's being present in the now. And so through this darkness, this dark night of the soul, which is not romantic, it's not an idea, it can't be forced through courses and trainings and teachings. It is lived, it's visceral, it's physical, it changes our very cellular being. And through this darkness, this void, we echo the cycles of creation, we embody this, and we therefore see the illumination from within. Now, that all sounds very grand. When we're in it, it's dark. It can feel so isolating, abandoning, facing such wounding and fears. But if my message here is, not only are we assisting the collective as we go through this individually and very uniquely, the invitation is to remember, because it's in our DNA, it's in the earth, it's held within the divine ones and spirit and our soul and our higher self and our guides and the wise ones, many wise ones in nature, that this is a divine cycle. Life is infinite, and there are deaths and rebirths, new life born, and all life is connected to other life, and nothing actually is final. All energy, all light, all sound, all vibration is always being communicating with other light, sound, energy, vibration. There's a communication, a divine song. And humanity is moving through this divine, may not feel like it, threshold. And it is not comfortable. We're being pushed out of our status quo comfort zone. And we have wonderful examples of this. We can see it, feel it in nature. The butterfly, the dragonfly, the trees, cycles of the elements. In the wilderness of real ancient forest, there is no actual separation between what we might have thought is living and dying. Actually, there's just a continuum, and there everything is connected by the mycelium network. And so there is a sacred purpose. But it is like that when we thaw out, when we have a numbing of one of our limbs, when we lie awkwardly, maybe when we've been asleep and we've trapped a vein or a nerve, when we bring life back into that part that feels numb, that we don't have a sense of, it can feel painful. And that is what we're going through. And it doesn't mean the pain is bad. So there is a divine purpose, a divine rhythm, and a divine intelligence. For me, it's tapping into that compassionate part, loving part, and knowing that everything is always moving within that awareness, which is stillness. Everything is always changing. And that stillness is our consciousness, which is divine, divinity. And that is where we can find home. That is where we can find safety and comfort and resource. So I will conclude my share there. If you have experienced grief, if you are grieving, or you are fearful of what or whom may depart from your life, I hope these reflections will be and have been of assistance. We are held. We are loved. We are loving. And we are created through the elements. We are the elements. And so winter does pass into spring. Those bulbs that are in the dark, cold, frozen earth are alive, though not seen from above, push through the snow as snowdrops do. So sending us always, always lots and lots of love. Thank you for listening.